Alright, it's May 17th, 2020, Zone 10A, Orange County, California. Let's do a little walk through the backyard. Permaculture native garden. Native permaculture garden. We'll call it the Yarden, is what we call it. Okay, here's our gigantic patch of nasturtiums. Our herb garden. Cut back that oregano the other day. Most of it's up there. Gave some of it away. It's rosemary taken off. A lot of chives in here. Some strawberries, hopefully, that'll take off. I put them in last year. A couple basil plants in there. Some Mexican tarragon, starting to grow well. Chives. There's lemongrass in here too. I pulled out most of it to do various things with, but there's still some left. All right, Honeycrisp apple doing well. This is bare roots I got from, I think, Home Depot. Most of the trees I got this year were from Lowe's or Home Depot. I've been getting them strictly from nurseries. Wanted to diversify a little bit, not just have Dave Wilson trees, although they are amazing. So I got some bare root stuff from the big box stores. Support your nurseries, but don't be scared to get plants that speak to you. Fall gold raspberries are coming up. Wonderful things. I'm excited for this patch here. A little candy tuft, Uriops, stuff for the bees, stuff for the pollinators. This royal apricot did not flower this year. However, it is absolutely taken off. I am positive I trimmed it at an improper time last year. So I cut off a couple spots that were growing too much, and we'll let it go, I think. We'll do a summer pruning just to cut back the most vigorous growth, but we'll leave most of it, and then we'll go from there in the winter and try and prune it a little bit better. It's still very young. These trees, this one here, and that plum, and the peach that's back here by these green beans that we'll go see. They were all put in Memorial Day 2018. So we're coming into entering year 3 of when things kind of started. Alright, this is a donut peach. Started to wake up. Very happy about that. If you remember from previous videos, it was very stickly, so I pruned it back considerably. All to what was alive, right? Artichoke. I'm finding a lot of earwigs that live in the artichokes. If you blow in them, they'll all crawl out. I mean, they'll come back, but before you eat them, I'm not going to show you that because it's pretty gross. Double the light nectarine. Little nasturtiums at the bottom. There's a blackberry in there that does not seem to be super happy. So we'll see. It gets neglected. It needs more water. Ceanothus back here. Dark Star. Alright. There's a peach in here. I'm not sure what kind of peach it was sold, or at least I bought it thinking it was a Snow Queen nectarine, and it is definitely not, because those are fuzzy. Also, the flesh is yellow. So, spicy nectarplum, trying to propagate. An apricot tree from seed. So that's exciting. Bunch more chives. Our mother apple mint, as we call it. Right? This, I made a point of buying one. I wanted to get one apple mint plant. Right? And then just propagate all my mint from that and never buy mint again. Or at least this variety of mint. And so far that's working, right? It was one plant. I've taken a ton of cuttings off of it. You'll see some that are kind of dispersed. Nothing that's really gone wild yet, like this one, but it's only been in this pot a few months. So, makes me happy. Reminds me of my first job, lawn and garden at Target. Chocolate mint. Some Cleveland sage. as we do, right? Here's a burgundy plum that is not flowered. It sent out one flower last year. This was really young when I put it in, and it looks like it's doing really well, so I'm happy about that. The meadow, some poppies, and most of the, well, all of the white are cilantro flowers. So they're starting to subside, and they're all going to seed. That's okay though, because now the cornflower are popping through, and this is just for pollinators anyway. Although there are a lot of other things in here to help besides the grass that's obviously here. Some cover crop stuff, a lot of radishes, and the arugula was here too. Okay, so let's come over here. Since we just talked about the apple mint, you can see some of the apple mint that I've propagated and gotten in here. So they're established, at least in what I had put them in. So they're going to start spreading. Down here we have some, what is that? Honeydew, I think? Yes, I believe so. Yeah, that's definitely a honeydew. Pinto beans, and another honeydew, and a whole bunch of spinach. Alright, some squash that is not doing very well. Some kind of squash. A lot of cucumbers I seeded. This had peas in it, and it got too warm. You can see some cabbage in there. It was too late in the year for that stuff. So, trying to get this bed going, figure out what'll work in this spot. We have some wild patch of carrots. They're not wild carrots. Some of them are. They're volunteers. Actually, most of these are probably volunteers from last year. So those are going to go to flower very soon, which is perfect because, as you can see, there are tons of flowers, but not as much of a density of flowers as I would like in one spot, which is what's best for the little tiny pollinators, the little tiny native bees. They need a 3x3, or they need 3 square feet of color, because they tend to just do one trip on one type of plant. So, there you go. There's your native bee talk for at least this minute. Calendula, alyssums. Alright, here we have some, these are round zucchini, getting kind of eaten. I'm getting some copper strips for around these beds, which apparently burn these bodies of slugs, so they will not want to cross that. But they're doing pretty well, some of them. Pinto beans, same thing here. I had peas here, and they died, so I took them out. And I had some turnips here as well, and one of the dogs has been lying in this constantly, and it got warm, so we'll reseed that with something. Maybe today. I'm hoping my tomato plants will, I'll just put our tomato plants there. There we go. Some more zucchini. Right here, or patty pan rather. Patty pan squash. Okay. Cherokee purple seedling. This, I believe, is cucumber, patty pan, some basil, Cherokee purple, patty pan, and patty pan. Alright, then we have this wonderful little patch of green beans. This will be much bigger next year. I anticipate this entire thing will be green beans next year, because this is working out well. So, they're string beans. Let's grow them up a string, right? This one in particular is really taken off. All I had to do was just train them for a couple days, and then they started doing it on their own. So even if you have to come out here and do it every day, this one too, not really a big deal, right? It takes like 30 seconds of enjoyably messing with your plants. Alright. Okay, peach tree. Babcock peach. This is doing really well. Last year it got destroyed by squirrels or some sort of something that was trying to eat the fruit and broke the limbs. So we didn't. It was kind of recovering from that all last year, and as you can see, this year it's gone crazy. There are a couple peaches on here, but that's not the stage where we're at yet. We don't need things to be completely fruiting yet. Lemongrass row. From the aforementioned lemongrass. This is actually lemongrass from the front. The lemongrass from the back I gave away and used in cooking. Some pinto beans. Right, pinto beans popping up. Then followed by cucumbers that are popping up. And then followed by a pretty densely planted section of cantaloupe. Extremely excited. So we'll see how that does. Artichoke, I've already cut back the main plant that produced a lot for us. We have a Wixon crabapple that has just recently flowered and probably not going to be pollinated and produce any fruit because I don't have another apple that flowers in the same period. So that's will be part of my goal for, I suppose, fall. It's too late. A little too late for planting trees now. I can, however, put this fig tree in the ground, and I probably will. This was an air-layered fig tree. Go look up air layering. It's a super easy way of propagating your plants. I was shocked at how easy it is. So that experiment worked. I was excited to use that on things like the abrium out front. Little Cosmo. We have some basil here that is starting to pop out. Right, some green onions. A little late in the year to be starting green onions, but oh well. Some evergreen currants that I took some cuttings of from a plant that I got, and some of them are doing well. This one in particular is doing really well. I got rid of some of them. It's apple cuttings, apple cutting, another currant, though those don't look very good. They made the first pass. They may not make the second cut. Same here, Anna apple, Einschmier apple that I accidentally cut from out front when I was trimming the lantanas, so hopefully that takes off because that's the only Einschmier we have right now. There's this little thing plus what's left on the tree. I checked the cambium layer a few days ago. It was bright green, so we should be okay. Jacaranda cutting. Fig popping out. Some poppies because I thought they were artichokes. And then some artichokes. Alright. An overview of up here. Come down. So if you remember, we had this giant radish over here that I took out recently. What is going on there? I wonder if that's for me. I think that must be for me. So I cleaned out most of this recently. We had our giant radish over there. Now we have our giant purple radish over here. Though I don't know if I posted the video that had this when it was flowering. The bees go crazy over this thing. Not quite as much this one as the white one, but nonetheless. Okay. Alright, so coming into the garden. Fava beans popping up, jacaranda seedlings, pinto beans. There's an evergreen currant cutting down in here. You can see behind that big grass blade, direct middle, right? I think I just threw it in the ground and it rooted. Fall-grown gold raspberries, society garlic. If you have the ability to grow society garlic, you should do so. These flowers are the most wonderful garlic flavor. You can throw it in anything. I wouldn't use it as an onion and saute type, meal. But if you're going to be using raw garlic or raw onion and anything, if you substitute a couple heads of these flowers, it'd be wonderful. We use it in hummus and stuff. We made pesto out of the carrot tops as well with it. The next set of radish flowers, just for pollinators, because they love them so much. Daikon, some daikon. We have some blue corn. Daikon getting eaten. I think that there's a rabbit getting in here, because these leaves are disappearing during the day. I don't think a raccoon is doing that. So, I wonder if it's getting in through here. Maybe. I don't know. It's supposed to be a rabbit fence. You see the tops of these patty pan squash too. Okay, we'll come back to that. So patty pan squash. And some other patty pan squash that have been getting eaten. Right? Some that haven't. Radish. Here's a better look at this currant. Tomato. Cherokee purple. Nope, that is not what I wanted. Hello. Okay. Alright, over in here, we have doing out a lot of melons that have been getting eaten by some slugs. So, excited for that copper strip that's on its way. But I have plenty of stuff to replant with watermelon. Some other, watermelon and honeydew in here. Hard to know what those ones are without the sprouting leaves, the cotyledons or whatever they are. Cherokee purple. Some glass gem corn. Check out botanical interests. Their seeds. Some blanket flower. Sage for the bees. There's also, surprise, some raspberries. Unsurprising. Things going to seed. Watermelon. And some cucumbers back there. And there's a cherry tomato seedling also. Bell peppers and tomatoes that hopefully are popping out soon. Corn, squash, and beans. They're getting pretty ravaged by some pests. Not too much over here, but this empty, it's just like open spot that doesn't have any mulch, like at all, is getting eaten pretty badly. But this patch is doing much better. This is the patch that was under the radish. This is the patch that was under the borage. So that may have something to do with it as well. Grow some more grow borage. It's good for your soil. And some poppies. And a raspberry. No, excuse me, blackberries. Black crown blackberry, and no, triple crown, black satin. There we go. Alright, some lavender. Walking around this cherry tree here. It's a mini royal cherry. And then we have the pollinator tree, the royal crimson. Self-fertile. This thing is amazing. Brown turkey fig. There's a lot of stuff here. Flavored grenade pluot. Sure, I missed something. Luckily, they get lots and lots of love, especially in this quarantine. My garden is extremely happy right now. Ceanothus. Some more blanket flower. They're amazing. So fluffy. And this is just one plant. You lift it up like a blanket, right? I don't do that normally. Most of the time I'll just leave it there, but it's kind of fun to show. Caught some bumblebees on the ones out front yesterday. Alright, evergreen currant. This is the plant I put in. This is the coloration that was kind of there when I put it in, and you can see it's better now. I don't think the soil is great. We'll see what happens. it seems to be doing pretty well. So, we'll see. Especially now that I pulled this grate back. This thing was basically down to a nub this year. And within the last, I don't know, 2 months, it has exploded. So, train it up here, get it up here with some wire, and then I can go over and under into the garden. It's a rain barrel that I need to fix. Ton of mint, the chocolate mint. Wonderful patch of chocolate mint. Just spread beautifully this year. I cannot tell you how many people try and tell me that the mint is just going to spread everywhere. And then they look at me with this blank stare when I tell them that's the reason that I've put it there. So if you want a ground cover, it's aromatic. Mine don't really flower all that much. I think it's probably because I trim them often. But there are a lot of different varieties for a lot of different purposes that behave in a lot of different manners. So I would recommend getting some mint. It also works fantastic as mulch. More mint, raspberry. Here's a couple peas that have made it through. It's too hot for them. This one seems to be doing okay. Alright, I think that's pretty much it for the back. Like I said, I'm sure I missed something, but nasturtiums. There's another raspberry in here that we'll see if it does anything. Alright, bye.